The diner smelled of burnt coffee and bacon grease, but to the regulars, it was home. At noon, Sally's Diner on Route 17 was packed with the usual crowd retired cops, their laughter loud, their stories louder. Then the door swung open, and three strangers in crisp Navy uniforms with HOA stitched in gold swaggered in like they owned the place. They didn't, and they were about to learn why. Sally's was a no-nonsense joint in Pinewood, a small town where folks minded their own business. The retirees, ex-cops with decades of service came here to swap war stories, sip coffee, and escape the world. The lead stranger, a wiry man with a clipboard and a smirk that could curdle milk, scanned the room like a hawk. His name tag read, Carl HOA President. Behind him, two others. A burly guy named Mitch and a woman with a tight bun named Karen stood with matching sneers, their uniforms pristine, their eyes gleaming with authority they hadn't earned. Carl cleared his throat, loud enough to hush the diner. "Attention, folks," he barked, holding up a stack of papers. "This establishment is in violation of Pinewood Heights Homeowners Association regulations. Unapproved signage, unpermitted outdoor seating, and let's be honest, a serious lack of curb appeal." He paused for effect, expecting gasps. He got silence. "Big mistake. Swana Iwarna." Pinewood wasn't your typical suburb. It was a patchwork of old family homes, small businesses, and a fierce sense of independence. Sally's Diner, with its chipped red paint and neon open sign, was the heart of it all. The regulars guys like Frank, a 30-year veteran with a scar across his knuckles, Maria, a sharpshooter turned grandma, and Tommy, whose quick draw once saved a hostage, weren't just customers. They were family. I'm Jake. By the way, I'm no cop, just a line cook at Sally's, flipping burgers and keeping my head down. I'd moved to Pinewood a year ago, running from a messy past in the city. The diner was my fresh start, and these retirees, they'd adopted me like a stray. So when Carl and his HOA goons marched in, I felt the air shift, like the calm before a storm. Carl's voice dripped with condescension. "We're here to issue citations. This diner's an eyesore, and we're cleaning up Pinewood Heights." He waved a citation at Sally, the owner, a tough-as-nails woman in her 60s who'd run the place since her dad passed. Sally, when wiping her hands on her apron, just stared, her eyes narrowing. "Pinewood Heights," Frank growled from his booth, his coffee mug frozen mid-sip. "This ain't your gated community, pal. You're on Main Street." Carl smirked. "Main Street's part of our jurisdiction now. New bylaws. Effective last week. Didn't you get the memo?" The room went dead quiet. Maria leaned forward, her voice low. "Son, you're about to step in something you can't scrape off your shoe. The HOA wasn't a real homeowners association. Pinewood didn't have one, never did. These three were part of a scam, a group of grifters who'd been hitting small towns, posing as officials to extort businesses and homeowners. They'd roll in, slap fake citations on shops and houses, and demand fines to make the problems go away. Most folks paid up, too scared or confused to fight back. But they'd never hit a place like Sally's, where the clientele had spent decades locking up people just like them. Carl, oblivious to the hornet's nest he'd kicked, started listing violations. The diner's sign was too red. The outdoor benches were unzoned. Even the jukebox was a noise nuisance. Mitch, the muscle, cracked his knuckles, while Karen scribbled furiously on her clipboard, muttering about property values. Tommy, the quietest of the retirees, leaned back in his booth, his eyes glinting. "You got a permit for that clipboard?" "Lady," he asked, his voice calm but sharp. The other cops chuckled, but it was a dangerous sound, like the rumble before an earthquake. Carl ignored him, turning to Sally. "You've got 24 hours to pay $5,000 in fines, or we shut you down." He slapped a citation on the counter, the paper landing with a smug little thud. Sally didn't flinch. "You're not shutting down Jack," she said, crossing her arms. This diner's been here since '62. You think you can waltz in with your fake badges and scare me? Fake, Karen gasped, clutching her pearls well. Her HOA badge. We're fully authorized. Authorized by who? Maria shot back. Standing now, her hands on her hips. The king of nowhere. The diners erupted in laughter, but Carl wasn't fazed. He stepped closer to Sally, lowering his voice. Pay up, or we'll make life hell for you. Liens, inspections, the works. That's when the twist walked in. The door chimed, and in strolled old man Jenkins, Pinewood's unofficial historian, a wiry 80-year-old with a cane and a memory sharper than a tack. Jenkins wasn't a cop, but he knew every inch of this town and every scam that had ever tried to take root. He'd been listening from the sidewalk, and now he was here, his eyes twinkling with mischief. Carl, is it? Jenkins said, hobbling forward. You're not from Pinewood Heights. Ain't no such place. I checked the county records this morning after I saw your little van parked by the gas station. You're running a con. Son. The room froze. Carl's smirk faltered, just for a second. Then he doubled down. Old man, stay out of this, or you'll get a citation too. Big mistake number 2. Frank stood up, all 6'3" of him, his chair scraping the floor like a warning shot. You're gonna cite an 80-year-old for talking, he said, his voice low and dangerous. Try it. The other retirees rose one by one, their faces hard. Maria cracked her knuckles. Tommy pulled out his phone, already dialing. The diner felt like a powder keg, and Carl was holding a lit match. You think you scare us, Carl snapped, but his voice cracked. Mitch stepped forward, trying to look tough, but he was sweating now. Karen, clutching her clipboard like a shield, started babbling about legal recourse. That's when the chaos broke loose. Frank grabbed the citation off the counter and tore it in half, the pieces fluttering to the floor like confetti. Maria snatched Carl's clipboard and tossed it into the sink, where it landed with a splash in soapy water. Tommy. On the phone with the sheriff, a buddy from his academy days started reading off the van's license plate, visible through the window. Get out, Sally said, her voice like steel, or I let these folks handle you. Carl, red-faced, made his final mistake. He shoved Sally, hard enough to make her stumble. The diner exploded. Frank grabbed Carl by the collar, lifting him an inch off the ground. Maria yanked Mitch's arm, twisting it like she was cuffing a perp. Karen screamed, dropping her badge as she bolted for the door, only to run smack into Jenkins, who blocked her with his cane. You ain't going nowhere, Jenkins said, grinning like a fox. Outside, the townsfolk were gathering, drawn by the commotion. Phones were out, recording. Someone yelled, fake HOAs getting wrecked. The retirees weren't just angry, they were done. Decades of dealing with liars, crooks, and bullies boiled over. Carl's uniform was ripped. Mitch was begging for mercy, and Karen was sobbing, her HOA badge trampled underfoot. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. The door chimed again, and in walked Deputy Ramirez, a young officer who'd trained under half the guys in the room. He wasn't alone. He had the county clerk with him, holding a stack of papers. These clowns hit 3 other towns this month, Ramirez said, tossing a file on the counter. Fraud, extortion, the works. You're done. The diner roared. Carl, Mitch, and Karen were cuffed on the spot, their smugness replaced by panic. The retirees high-fived. Sally poured free coffee, and Jenkins, leaning on his cane, started telling the crowd about the time he busted a moonshine ring in '73. By sundown, the story was everywhere. Local news vans parked outside Sally's, and the video of Carl getting dragged out in cuffs went viral. Fake Ho Fail trended on X, with clips of Maria's arm twist and Jenkins' cane block racking up millions of views. The town rallied around Sally, raising enough in a crowdfunding campaign to repaint the diner bright red. just to spite the scammers. The aftermath was brutal for the fake HOA. Carl, Mitch, and Karen faced charges in 4 counties, their scam unraveling as more victims came forward. Pinewood's retirees became local heroes, their faces plastered on every news outlet. But the real win was the town itself. People who'd never spoken before were now swapping stories at Sally's, united by the absurdity of it all. As for me, Jake, I got a raise and a new nickname, the quiet cook who saw it all. I didn't do much, but I learned something. Never underestimate a room full of retired cops or an old man with a cane and a grudge. The diner's still here, neon sign glowing, coffee brewing. And if you ever think about pulling a fast one in Pinewood, remember karma's got a badge, and it's always watching. What's your take on this ever dealt with a scam that got what it deserved? Drop your thoughts below. I'm all ears.